All right, so this should just be a review a little bit and just some advanced kinds of things as far as thinking through concepts. But you surely need to have watched the first part before you get to this. So here's your first ad, safe no matter what you make, Play-Doh. And it's got those iconic colors. You get what they're selling, right? You get the Play-Doh. What are they selling? Safety, right? So their message is safe no matter what you make. And the concept is obviously this meat cleaver, right? And so it's a pretty clever kind of approach. You know it's made of Play-Doh because you get the iconic colors. But for the concept, they really could have done any sorts of things. They could spin off a whole series of ads that could be just lots of different, unsafe elements that were made out of Play-Doh. So that's just sort of seeing this in action. Here's a Coke one that's really different. Says, try not to hear this. So the product's Coke. What are they trying to sell? They're trying to sell that fizz. They're trying to sell that fresh sound that everybody looks for and realizes when they're thirsty or they're hot or whatever, that's the moment. I mean, that's something people identify with. That's what sounds like a good Coke. And so, they dealt with that. What's the benefit of their product? And they've got this concept. But they didn't just settle for this one. You'll see the whole line of ads at their concept. They play it through. Try not to hear this. And you see it, you see the moment you open a can. So you start playing with all the different moments that you hear that sound. Try not to hear this. Great. You just instant connects. You see it. You see the fizz that's coming off the Coke and the rim of the fizz of the Coke in the glass. And so it's just a really sort of clever approach and really hard to pull off considering they're trying to do sound with a print ad. So what are you always looking for? You're like, well, what's it good for? What's your product good for? Bubba's flowers. What are they good for? Well, they're good for making up with someone. They're good for bringing beauty to your house. They're good for brightening somebody's day. They're good for, and you just kind of go through that brainstorm. And then who could use it? Well, boyfriends that have really screwed up, brides looking for something, a house dad who's just looking to put something fresh on the table for his family to come home to. You really could be sort of different. But ultimately, you're always looking for what emotions or ideas can you tie to your product. And think about those priceless ads. I mean, they took a piece of plastic and ended up establishing like an emotional tie to it, a family tie, feelings of love, you know, that you could tie to a piece of plastic. So it's just really smart ad campaign that really worked well for them. And what are the best times to have it? Think about those priceless commercials. And if you watch those, you're talking about the credit card. And, it's like you want to have it when you take your son to his first baseball game, and you want to have it so you can buy the hot dog and buy the big foam finger or whatever it is, to make that the best day, something he's going to remember. And then if you get really clever, what times would you like to have something like this similar in your life? Because that's where the more creative stuff comes in. They just look at the benefit of the product and really stretch it a little bit and think about other ideas that people might not think of because there's something similar to that in your life. Here's a great one, ultra fine. Wouldn't you like to have something fine that could write really, really fine? Well, this ultimately really small cheat sheet. It's genius. Okay, ultra fine. I'm going to run through a whole series of ads I just thought were fun and clever. And here you've got love free Wi-Fi, which they were selling in McDonald's, love free Wi-Fi. And here they stay with their iconic colors. You've got this and perfect that the fries actually match sort of that color of the gold that you want. So you've got the Wi-Fi symbol made out of fries, which I thought was really clever. Hard to pull off is Weight Watchers ads. Is like if you show large people, you risk belittling them and demeaning them. And so in this case, they just go with the large door for an entrance, exit, and it clicks. Remember, you don't want to have to explain an ad to people. You want them to get it. And the best thing you can do is show an ad to somebody. And if they laugh, that's great. If it's supposed to be serious, ask them what they got from it. But don't say you got it or did you get that? Because they'll say, yeah, they don't want to look stupid. But if you ask them what they got from it and they can't articulate what you want them to get, then it's not working. You have to go back and do it. You can't explain it to them either. because you can't go around explaining it to however many thousands of people see it. Here's one, you have to look at it for a second, but it actually was supposed to look like it fits into a newspaper ad, like a block of ads. But it's a clever splash park. You know, you look at all the water flowing in this other woman next to him, and then it splotches all on the ad. So I just thought that was very different and clever. Or here, how do you sell like a book, you know, business? How do you spell a bookshop? You know, become someone else. And because that's what happens, you get lost in it. You become someone else, and they just sort of took it in a more visual side, a visual way. But notice how that's an ornamental type, but yet that pick your hero ad's a very clean type. So we still hadn't forgotten what we talked about in the other one about, you know, using typeface right, having a gaze motion. Look at how it points towards the logo. Here's a public service announcement. Where will your child end up in an accident? And you know it's supposed to look like a speedometer, because speedometer, what, you get faster. Well, the faster you get, you come to a stop, you don't have your seatbelt on. Where will your child end up in an accident? So it's a pretty hard edge sort of public service announcement. And then look, buckle up your child always. So just this, they want those to resonate with you. They want these things to stick with you, to make you think. This one's just fun. He may look like you, but that doesn't mean he has to eat the same food. He may look like you, but that doesn't mean he has to eat the same food. He may look like you, but that doesn't mean he has to eat the same food. I love this. It's played off that whole idea of you look like your pet. And I always think of whoever had to try to come up with people that look like this, right? That they had to flip through all these like extras books or whatever, where you get headshots of everybody. And then you get the same thing here. He may look like you, but that doesn't mean he has to eat the same food, which they're trying to get across what? That you shouldn't feed your, you know, pets people food. But again, it's a play off of you look like your pet. So clever. It's sugar-free. The ants aren't going to touch it if it's sugar-free. You know, that's usually approached ant, you know, sugar attracts ants. I thought it was just a fun way, different way to show sugar-free ingredients in something that you can't get that across. You can't get flavor across, so they got it across visually. Or how about this one, precision parking? It's like, when would you like to have something like this in your life, but only if you're a goldfish? Precision parking, parking assist by Volkswagen. Light biscuits. It's just, it is. Snaps, clicks. That's what you want to add to do. Sharper than you think. The gourmet knife with Damasteel blade, sharper than you think. It's just thinking about how so sharp that what? You would have to be careful or this happens. Love this one, 100% comfort, 100% cotton shell, 100% comfort. How do I get across comfort in a print ad? Well, I showed this. What do you do when you're comfortable? You don't move. You go to sleep, you don't move, you don't rustle around, you don't flip and toss and turn. So people, if you don't move, then you can build these domino things on them. I forget what you call those, but I always see like, was this photoshopped in there? Did they glue them all together? I have no idea how they pulled that off. But a really cool way to show comfort, which is hard to do. Only Oreo or nothing, right? Or nothing. It's like, that's all you'll have. Beautiful job using white space to bring you to that. Clean, simple. Same thing here. Road sign, use electricity wisely. Somebody said once, they're like, well, this didn't work during the daytime. Well, no, not quite as well, but the white space would still bring me over there to use electricity wisely, but it works so well in the evenings to make their point. What are they trying to sell? Fun. Stick shift, you've usually got letters on there. You use like first, second, and then they just turn that into yeehaw. Or this one, at least you feel your feet won't, at least your feet won't feel uncomfortable. At least your feet won't feel uncomfortable. It's just so clever. It's awkward, but clever. At least your feet, these urinals, the guys will get it in the room. PSAs, reserved for drunk drivers. Or this is a whole campaign. This is a college contest. Get a girlfriend. So you got Axe all over body spray. And they're obviously trying to say you attract women with this. And so it's a pretty cool um, ad campaign, but like get a girlfriend. So they look for all these guys that obviously have too much time on their hands. You know, these giant Lego statues, or get a girlfriend. I love Boy Scouts, but cracks me up. Troop number 73, perfect attendance certificate, get a girlfriend. Or this one's even better, get a girlfriend. These guys that jump frogs and to see who jumps the furthest. And they're obviously like 20, 19. Get a girlfriend. Or this one, get a girlfriend. So it's the same idea, but they just take that message of these are people that we want to get a girlfriend, the guys that have too much time on their hands. And then they just look to sort of how do we showcase that? What shows they have too much time on their hands? So many clever different ways to approach that. For a group of cinemas called Utopus, Utopolis, I believe maybe it is. Utopolis, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, but it's this one's based off the Free Willy. You may be too young to kind of get this, but it's that whole idea. The Free Willy poster, the orca whale actually jumps over the kid and he's out there, and then they're like, no, that doesn't happen that way. The whale would eat the boy. So it's just kind of a clever approach. Or this one, you get this one, right? You get this one from Titanic, reality sucks, because you would not want to stand on the bow of the boat. And then this whole series, When You Want to Celebrate. It's a candy ad for when you want to celebrate. Think about it for a second. Look at it. What do you have? You have the college kid going off to college. Parents are when you want to celebrate. Or this one, even better, when you want to celebrate. It kind of cracks me up. You have to get it right. They did not want their opponent to win. Or when you want to celebrate. The private school kids did not want to go to school. So there you go. That's kind of a quick run through. Remember what we're doing. We're going back to product and we're looking at what do we want our benefits to be? What's our message that we're trying to get across? To brainstorm clever headlines for that, clever things, and then play with your visuals and try to make sure the two go together. And then, like we said, go back, show it to somebody else, let them see what they get from it, make sure the message gets across. And if you show it to multiple people and they all get it and they laugh or they do what you want them to get, then you've got a pretty decent ad. But if they look at it and there's not much reaction or they muddle up what's going, then you have to go back and sort of reassess it and redesign what you've got there because the visual verbal concept isn't necessarily working. And like I said, there's no explaining it. It just has to click. All right, good luck.